Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. This is Crunch Time, sponsored by Fanduel. It is, in my opinion, the best show in the biz, where we most certainly bring in the sharpest experts in the biz. We got one, Mr. STL Cards in the house. Cards, what's up, man?
Yeah, not too much. Pretty quiet Thursday. A little rainy here today, so we're just gonna hang out inside tonight and see what we can navigate on this pretty small slate. Pretty quiet Thursday in general on the schedule, but for a 4-game slate, there's a lot of interesting talking points tonight. We got weather, we've got game theory to discuss tonight, and it might be just 4 games, but I do think there's some interesting stuff tonight.
Okay, very good. Well, you mentioned some rain where you are. There is also some rain in Boston. I'll go over that here shortly. But first, we got to bring in the freshest man I ever did see. It's TJ Zwarich. We've already got some comment. The Prince says, new haircut. School must be open in Canada. You look sharp, brother.
Yeah, thank you. Had a nice free afternoon today, so I went out and finally got a long overdue haircut. Feeling good. I had a wedding last weekend and it was like 95 degrees outside and the church was just super hot and my long hair was just so sweaty and gross. I thought I have another wedding this weekend, and so I thought there's no way I can do that again. I got to get it cut nice and short for the rest of the summer here.
Looks good, man. You're getting some love here. Looking fresh and so clean. TJ got his ear lower. Everybody says you look fresh. So kudos to you and to the barber. Cards, you look fresh as well, my man. I know that is the quintessential Cards do.
It reminds me because I had somebody that just moved the other day say that he was looking for a new place to get his hair cut. And he mentioned that the first place he went to, their charge for just a men's cut was like $70.
No.
And I can't imagine paying $70 for a dude to get his hair cut.
No, I can't either.
TJ's probably going to tell me now that he spent $70.
TJ's looks like it's worth $70. So
this one was 40.
40,
okay.
40 I can see.
Yeah,
that's I guess like 30 American.
Yeah.
All right. Now that would be respectable, I think. Yeah, but $70 for
70. I can't do it. All right. Hey, people are not here for haircut takes. They are here for baseball takes. They might be here for weather takes as well. So let's talk about it. The first weather game that we have to discuss is in Philly. They might still have to late start in Philly. I'm going to pull up the very latest radar. But here's what you need to know. It's pretty close. They might late start in Philly, and I don't care if they do. That game is 100% fine, regardless of if they have to have a brief late start or not. All of that is clear, and it's going to be dry the rest of the night. So in Philly, we're good. Boston is the game where I don't have that high level of confidence here. I think the rain is going to start right around first pitch, probably fairly light rain. And then pretty early on in the game, it will be a more moderate rain. And so I don't know what they're going to do. My guess is that they're just going to try to play it on time and play through the rain. If they do that, pitchers become somewhat risky because it's going to rain moderately hard fairly early in the game. So it is possible that they need to delay, and then that could end up being a long delay, and then boom, there goes your SPs. There's the GIF. That was me trying to figure it out, what the hell's going to happen in Boston like an hour ago. There's also a chance that they late start in Boston to avoid a potential early delay. And if they do that, it certainly helps lower your risk for pitchers, but it doesn't really clear until like 10 o'clock tonight. The rain, the spotty off and on rain doesn't clear till like 10. So that increases your chance of a postponement. This is the last time these two teams play. They do not have the same day off day over the next week or so. My thought is that they're motivated to play it and that they'll play it in the rain. My thought is that they probably avoid a delay if they decide to go that route and they just kind of play it soaking wet. But I do not have high confidence in that. Like I don't. The bottom line is that's what I think is going to happen. The truth is I don't know what the hell's going to happen. So I think if you want to roll Boston in tournaments, that's great. I think in cash, it's probably a little bit risky.
So here's my thoughts on this, in that I would normally be relieved of the no mutual off day, got to get this one in thought process. But there is a chance that they could just can this game because right now, I mean, we know the Royals aren't going anywhere, right? They're fighting for the worst record in baseball. And the Red Sox currently are like 5 games out of a wild card spot, and their playoff odds are like 10%. Mm-hmm. So worst case scenario, you just can the game and say, hey, if it ends up mattering to Boston, you make it up the day after the season ends. We've seen that happen in past years, and it usually doesn't matter, because the odds of one game mattering at the end are fairly small. So I wouldn't make your decision if you're out there thinking, well, it's the last time these teams play and they don't have the same off day. Yeah. If it's 2 teams fighting for the division title, maybe, but it's the not going anywhere Royals and the quickly fading Red Sox. I just don't. They might just trash the game and say we'll deal with it later if it happens to be a problem.
Yeah, I could see that happening. So basically, I don't have high confidence on it. If we see anything, if there's tarp on pregame, I would be more alarmed. But in the meantime, so long as they don't announce a late start, I think it's likely that bats will work out one way or another, so long as they don't announce a late start prior to the game. So that's where I'm currently at with that. TJ, do you have frosted tips, or is that a natural? Most of the questions coming in are about your hair. Is that color?
That's just my the color I get in the sun.
Okay.
It gets a little bit lighter in the summertime.
We're just checking. Joseph says Bro's trying to talk people off of it. I don't care. I want you I want you to do what works for you. I'm telling you, I don't know. That's all. I'm not trying to talk anybody off of anything. Hey, that's enough weather talk for now. If anything changes, I will certainly jump onto it. But let's dive into the pitcher side of things. Who wants to start? Who feels good?
TJ went out and got that haircut today. I think he's earned the start.
Let's start things off. We got almost 400 people watching, so let's hit the like button. And we got some Spidey bombs coming today. It's only 4 games, but I still got some home run bets going. So we'll get, let's say the first one at 75 likes, second one at 125, third one at 150. Because we should easily be able to get up to 150. That's less than half. But from a pitching standpoint today, just because of that weather situation in Boston, I think that would make me want to lean towards, like, Aaron Nola is the one guy you are absolutely playing in cash games today. James Paxton would be the best projected SP2. Clayton Kershaw would be one we'd want to go to, but we don't know where his pitch count's going to be. It's his first game back in a really long time. Maybe he goes out there and pitches 90. Maybe he goes out there and pitches 50. We don't really know. And so my lean personally, if I was doing like a single entry cash game style lineup today, I would just go Nola, and I would be saving salary with Zach Littell. I'm not sure which one it is. It's not spelled like Little, it's spelled like Littell. And either way, I'd probably go with him just because he's 6.9K. He's probably going to get a few strikeouts, and hopefully he should just be fine. I don't have that much confidence in Paxton anyways, and so I think the weather would be enough to kind of push me away from that. And if I was only building one lineup, I'm building 150 today, and so I have a total of 6 pitchers in my pool, and it's Little, Nola, Corbin, Paxton, Kershaw, and Liberator, just because it's a 4-game slate and anything can happen, and he's nice and cheap. We're going to get major chalk on Nola, Paxton, and Nola and Paxton, and then maybe a little bit of Kershaw too. I'm just going to, it feels gross, but I'm going to take some shots on the cheap pitchers today. Zach Little, Patrick Corbin, and even some Matthew Liberator, and just hope these expensive guys don't break the slate.
Okay, that's fair. I have I got to bring something back here, a quick correction. I said that Boston Kansas City does not play again. It turns out I must have missed it when I looked. They do have a series in early September. So in theory, they could just book a doubleheader.
That would make me extremely nervous. And even if it's in that series is in Kansas City, but they could play there with Boston as the home team for one game. That's happened before as well. Yeah. So, it's that worries me more than
the not
just
playing
the
at all.
Mutual off day.
Yeah. But just keep in mind, so long as we don't hear about a tarp on the field, like, I'm still pretty optimistic that they're going to figure out a way to play. It's if they announce a late start when we have to start worrying about all of these things. But in the meantime, we have not seen a late start, and I'm still fairly optimistic. Okay, let's go into pitchers, cards. I want cards, pitchers. TJ already gave his thoughts. Cards.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously not a ton to add with it only being 4 games. I do agree with the thought process behind potentially using a cheap pitcher today, especially because I'm a little more nervous about Paxton now, particularly if Boston decides they want to start on time. If that becomes too heavy to play through, then you basically got a starting pitcher that's getting waxed if they do decide to resume. So I don't love Paxton and I don't love Kershaw. I would be shocked if they let Kershaw go past 70 pitches tonight. We have him at 70 in our projections. That's probably the best you're getting from him. I mean, he did not have a rehab start. He hasn't pitched in like 45 days. They're the largest money line favorite we've seen in baseball this season. And what reason do the Dodgers have to push Kershaw his first game back against a bad team where you're like a minus 400 favorite? Shocked if he goes beyond 70 pitches. I wouldn't be surprised if they only let him throw 50 pitches tonight. You're not going to see anything. They haven't announced anything. They're not going to let you know. But do you really want to pay a premium for Kershaw? I get it, it's the Rockies, but 50 or 60 pitches of Kershaw, 70 pitches best case scenario, or 80 pitches if everything goes right, even still might not be enough to pay off that price tag. So it's definitely Nola for me with the Kershaw pitch count concerns and the Paxton weather concerns. And then, if you're dart throwing with Corbin or Littell or Liberatore and GPPs, I think that's fine, particularly on DraftKings where you need 2 pitchers. On FanDuel, I think you just play Nola and forget it.
Okay. All right. That makes a lot of sense.
For what it's worth, I agree on FanDuel. It's Nola or one of the cheap guys, and I wouldn't really be taking shots on Paxton or Kershaw. On DraftKings, I agree with everything Cards just said, but Kershaw could throw 65 pitches and be the second highest scoring pitcher on this slate by like 5 points. Just because that's how bad the pitching slate is, and it's only 4 games. And so on DraftKings, I'm probably still going to be underweight on both Paxton and Kershaw, but it's so bad that it's hard not to get a little bit of them.
Gotcha. Cards, do you have a preference at SP2? So Nola's your SP1 on DK. Do you have a favorite SP2?
No, I mean, it was Paxton, but I'm worried about the weather a little bit there. And like TJ said, it's not like he's a guy you have to have anyway. Littell is probably the safe guy, but he's probably only going to get you like 2 or 3 Ks. He gets a lot of ground balls. He doesn't walk anybody. Like Littell is not going to put up a negative score. Liberatore could put up a negative score. Corbin could put up a negative score. I think if you're looking for ceiling, Corbin is intriguing against a Phillies team that hasn't been as good against lefties. Like Littell is probably the cash game play. Corbin is probably the GPP play, if you're asking me.
Okay, very good analysis. So let's kick it over to the flip side here and talk about some stacks. But before we do that, did you know the show is sponsored by FanDuel? Make sure you sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook. If you are in a legal sports betting state, take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. If you're in Tennessee, Arizona, Colorado, or Illinois, you can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets. If you are in Virginia, West Virginia, Indiana, Iowa, and all other legal sports betting states, you can get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Terms and conditions do apply. Cards, let's talk about some stacks.
Yeah, I think the obvious one tonight, if you're too nervous about the weather in Boston, the obvious one is the Dodgers. I mentioned they're the largest money line favorite we've seen. That's because they're going against a pitcher that doesn't strike anybody out, and they're the Dodgers. When I looked, when we came on the air, their lineup was not out yet, and it's still not. So we're still waiting on a lineup there. That game starts 3 hours after every other game on the slate. So you got to assume, that you're going to see the usual guys that are in there. But we got to wait for lineup confirmation on that. The caution there is if that lineup comes out super late, if for some reason they play 3 guys that are eligible at second base and no third baseman or something, we might have to play a Rocky on the other side. But I like the Dodgers. I think Boston is fine especially if the game is a full go and the people get scared away by the weather. I'm a little lower on Philly. I think Tampa probably has the next highest upside because Liberatore has just kind of been all over the place, and you just never know what you're going to get from him. But by far, my favorite is the Dodgers.
Okay, excellent. So we'll kick it over to TJ. TJ, your thoughts, your favorite stacks here tonight?
Yeah, optimally speaking, I agree with Cards 100%. I am going to take some it's Dodgers and Boston's on the same tier as them, but because of that weather, maybe it's Dodgers 1, Boston number 2. But who I'm going with the most in tournaments today is actually Kansas City. They have been playing great baseball lately. They've been just absolutely mashing. And Paxton has been pitching pretty poorly. He's been giving up a lot of hard contact. And so I'm going to Kansas City, especially just because Paxton's going to be somewhat chalky. Then the Dodgers, Rays, and Boston are my next 3 teams, followed by St. Louis and Philly. And because it's only 4 games and I'm mixing and I'm playing 150, I'm getting some Washington and some Colorado as well. If you're choosing one of the weak offenses going up against a strong pitcher, obviously Kansas City is my favorite, followed by Washington. I don't really have any interest in stacking Colorado against the Dodgers. I have 150 lineups and I have 2 Colorado stacks.
TJ, I'm disappointed in you. You usually like those vomit stacks.
I'm playing 25% Kansas City today.
Okay, all right. So I kind of like the Rockies tonight. For the same kind of logic. I mean, look, the Rockies aren't good. They're horrible. They're probably not going to do anything, but they're crazier things on a 4-game slate. And if you subscribe to the theory that I mentioned earlier that maybe it's possible Kershaw only goes 50 pitches, you could get some middle relief there. If the Dodgers score the runs that we expect them to score, maybe they're ahead 6-1 when Kershaw leaves the game and you're not getting their elite bullpen guys. So crazier things have won 4-game slates in the past, and I don't think Colorado is crazy. Obviously, if we knew Kershaw was a full go, you wouldn't be doing this, but I don't think it's crazy tonight.
Okay. Quick weather note. We're going to go around the horn here. Ryan says, hey, it's just green going over Boston, right? That means no lightning. There's not going to be any lightning over Boston, but it's off and on light rain with occasional heavier rain, at least moderate rain. And the question is whether or not they can play through that moderate rain, because a lot of times they just don't. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. My lean is that they're going to try to play through it and that they'll be successful in doing so, but I'm not highly confident in that at all, just to be clear. Okay, we have 12 minutes, I think, until the first game's lock. So, TJ, let's start with a little talk here at the catcher position, and we'll jump back and forth.
Before we get there, we're at 105 likes. So we got Spidey Bomb number 1, 20 likes away from the second one, 45 likes from the third one. So keep smashing that like button. Let's get some home run calls. The very first one, make sure your doors are locked, your alarm is on, because something bad's gonna happen tonight, followed by Nick Castellanos hitting a home run, because something bad's always got to happen before Nick Castellanos hits his home run, and he is Spidey Bomb number 1. You can get him for plus 390 on Fanduel.
I'm proud of myself that I got that reference. Very nicely done. All right. Hey, let's dive into catcher, and we do need more likes. We need them for the Spidey Bombs. We need them because we're trying to keep this show free for you. So make sure you hit us with a little thumbs up. Also, I should add, while we're talking about important things, NFL is here, by the way. Like, preseason's happening, regular season right around the corner, and we've got our team of experts and our suite of tools ready to go. We're going to handle the lead work so you can work less and win more this season. Get access to everything we have to offer. Special discount available. Only those without an RG subscription get this offer. You can get a full season subscription for $50 off at a limited time price, only $375. So that's pretty great. Make sure you're doing that. TJ, what are your thoughts on catcher?
Catcher position today, and we have reached 125 likes, so we do have Spidey Bomb number 2. Still not even ready for catcher. So Spidey Bomb number 2 today, going with Jose Siri, batting 6th for Tampa Bay. I got a bet on him as well. You can get him for plus 450 on FanDuel, going up against Liberator, and he's got a 300 ISO against lefties this year. Absolutely has smashed. Catcher today, Will Smith, top player at the position, another Spidey Bomb contender. The reason I didn't go with him, even though he's a phenomenal bet, is because he's also a turd bomb, and he's going to be chalky on this slate. So Will Smith is my favorite home run bet on the slate as well, so get that one in there. But he's the top catcher. The next 2 guys for me are going to be Royals, Sal Perez and Freddie Furman, JT Realmuto, and the rest of the guys are basically just only in stack options for me. Betancourt is fine. Austin Barnes or Knitzer are fine as long as they're in the lineup. For Barnes, that is. But Will Smith is my favorite by a fairly wide margin. If I need to go somewhere cheap, my favorite's Furman.
Okay, great. Cards, your thoughts?
Yeah, not a ton to add there. Perez would be my favorite tournament pivot. Again, maybe even a little Diaz if he's in there for Colorado as part of your, sneaky likely to lose Colorado stacks like I have tonight. So user caution don't go throwing out 150 Colorado stacks tonight, but sprinkle them.
Card says lock in Colorado.
Lock them in. All right. First base cards.
Yeah, I think Boston. So Boston is rolling out all their lefty bats. I thought it would be interesting with them facing a lefty opener. Like maybe they'd throw Ref Snyder in there and then pinch hit. When the righty comes in, they're facing a lefty opener and a righty like bulk guy. But they are starting their lefties. So Casas is fine. He's been tearing the cover off the ball. Probably a little chalky for me though, unless the weather scares people away. You can pivot to Alec Boehm on DraftKings. You can play him at first base. I don't mind a contrarian like Spend Up with Goldschmidt, or even Alec Burleson as a cheap play. He's basically min salary on both Fanduel and DraftKings. Makes a ton of contact going against a low strikeout pitcher. Does have pretty good batted ball data of late. So Burleson would be fine as a punt. Casas in the mid-range, Goldie, and of course Freddie Freeman up top.
Okay. How about TJ? Your thoughts at first?
Yeah, as I believe it was Dean tweeted this out earlier today, in the last month, Casas is leading baseball in ISO, second in WOBA, second in a whole bunch of different things. And so he's been playing really, really well, and he's a really strong option if you need to go cheap. I really like Alec Boehm today, another one of my favorite options. Freddie Freeman, if you're going to be spending up. I got about 22% Freeman today. And then I don't mind getting some Goldschmidt in tournaments as well.
Okay. How about second base, TJ?
Mookie Betts, favorite guy here by a fairly wide margin. If you're spending up, if you're going down, you got Pablo Reyes leading off. Those are the two top options today. Ahmed Rosario is able to play at second, but you're probably playing him at short. I'm getting to a little bit of these Royal guys, like I mentioned, Samad Taylor and Michael Massey. And then Nolan Gorman, Trevor Story, both phenomenal plays as well. But Betts and Reyes are going to be the top two for me.
Card, second base.
Yeah, it's hard to get past Reyes as one of the best values on the slate since he's leading off. I do think he's fadeable in GPPs because, it's Pablo Reyes at one of the higher ownership percentages on the slate. But, Michael Massey, I think, would be a GPP pivot as a value option. Otherwise, I think TJ pretty much hit the high-end guys, and Betts would be my favorite.
Okay. Then we go to third.
Yeah, so Devers is going to be one of the highest spend-up options of the night. Again, I'm lower on Boston, A, because of the weather, and B, because I just like the Dodgers a little bit more. So in all these tie-breaking spots, I think I'd rather play Muncy, again, assuming he's in the Dodger lineup tonight. That lineup was not out when I last looked 2 or 3 minutes ago. So otherwise, this position is fairly weak tonight. You're really probably just full on punting, and that's not usually what I want to do at third. So I think this is a position where you should probably try to get up to Muncy or Devers, or else Chris Taylor in the mid range against a lefty would be fine as a value.
Okay. TJ, your thoughts third?
Alec Boehm, I mentioned him at first, but he's going to be my favorite guy here as well. I'm getting to a lot of Kike Hernandez and Chris Taylor, Mikael Garcia leading off for Kansas City. And then, of course, Muncy, Devers, Arenado, all awesome options. Paredes is batting fifth today. He's all good as well. That's kind of where my list ends of guys I just like. Anyone else is okay. Maybe they get a sprinkle in a stack.
Okay. Shortstop, please.
Bobby Witt is probably my favorite overall play on the slate. I absolutely love him today going up against Paxton. If we get how many likes are we at? We're at 134. Come on. I was trying to give you the Spidey bomb right here at short, and we're not even ready, but it is Bobby
right now. Where's that like button?
Get me these likes up, get them up. It's Bobby Witt plus 400 on FanDuel. He's my favorite play on the slate. Pablo Reyes, Ahmed Rosario, both totally fine. You want to go Weston Wilson to save salary. That's cool too. I do like Story is just too chalky for me today. Franco, I really like in tournaments, but Bobby Witt Jr. is my favorite play on the slate.
Okay. Cards, I think it is your turn for short.
Yeah, Story for me is a fade until we see something. So he's only been back for 2 games and obviously missed an extended period. And in the 2 games since he's come back, he's 0 for 8 with 6 Ks. And I get it, variance and all that, and it's only 2 games. But if you got a 75% strikeout rate, variance isn't going to go your way. And he's always kind of been a streaky guy, a guy that can swing and miss. So I'm off Story. I prefer the other spends that TJ mentioned at the position as well. And otherwise, yeah, those same guys that we've mentioned, generally third base and shortstop eligible, depending on what site you play on. Assuming Ahmed Rosario's in the middle of the Dodger lineup, I like him in the mid-range tonight.
All right, we've got about 4 minutes until lock. Let's get to the outfield.
Yeah, I agree with TJ's take earlier on Castellanos as a home run pick. I think he is just fine, even as a one-off play. I am not mega high on Philly, but I do like Castellanos individually. Siri, who TJ mentioned as well, had 2 homers last night. You probably, in cash games for sure, are going to end up with one of the Boston guys, Duvall, Duran. Randy Arozarena probably profiles as one of the better spends of the night. Ironically, the Cardinals traded him to Tampa Bay for Liberatore, who's pitching tonight. Very poor trade by the Cardinals, so Arozarena should come out ahead in that matchup. Again, if you're looking value, Burleson you can play in the outfield. Don't even mind playing some MJ Melendez, who's been taking good at bats. Tyler O'Neill, another guy. Harold Ramirez as a potential value play.
Okay, outfield, TJ.
Yeah, a lot of the same guys. Castellanos and Siri are my 2 favorite for tournaments. I love the Arozarena call. I'm getting a lot of him. I'll be underweight on the Boston guys, overweight on the KC players. So I'm getting a lot of Dairon Blanco and Samad Taylor near the end of their lineups. And I also like Lars Nootbaar quite a bit for tournaments today.
Very good. All right. Well, we've got the Spidey Bombs here. We got Casty, Witt Jr., and Siri. So we need a Cards home run call, a Taxman home run call. I don't know. We need something for you. We need a bit for you. I'll work on it. What do you got, Cards?
So it's a certified professional. I don't even remember what.
Oh, you do a CPA one. I like that.
A certified professional bomb.
Yeah, this is those were horrible.
Thank you.
We'll work on it. My
head got too big from all the haircut compliments, and I need to be brought back down to earth.
It's tough because the Dodgers are my favorite offense, but their lineup's not out yet, and Colorado is like my off the board offense, and their lineup's not out yet. So you got to assume like some of these guys are going to be in the lineup, obviously, but even lefties, like Blatch does not strike anybody out. So one of Freeman or Muncy, even lefty on lefty, probably one of those Dodgers lefties, especially if you can get them at better odds than say Mookie Betts. I'm going to have to dig into that, once their lineup comes out and see what the odds are. But like those Dodgers guys. And then let's see if I have to go.
Smith is definitely the best one from a betting standpoint. He's plus 450.
Yeah, I like that call too, especially if Grant's on him too. We'll ride those coattails. And then, TJ just mentioned him. Give me Nootbaar as a sneakier one too. He's been quietly raking lately.
Okay. Do you work for H&R Block? Because it could be your H&R blast of the day.
That's offensive. No, I don't work for H&R Block.
I didn't know that was offensive. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was a shot in the CPA world.
It is very much a shot, but that's okay. You didn't know.
Yeah. Nice one, Weatherman.
Yeah, I didn't know that. All right. Let's get to some QQs. We got a lot coming up right now.
Knowing absolutely nothing about either field, I'm assuming that we got. I'll save this after lock. Go.
Okay. Cards. What do you think about a Cardinal stack? Can you play a batter or two against your pitchers?
So I presume those are 2 separate questions. The Cardinals stack I'm kind of off of tonight against a low walk ground ball pitcher that it just isn't going to get into a ton of trouble. So I'm off the full stack. I think 1 or 2 individually are fine. And yeah, I think you can play like one hitter against your pitcher tonight. The slate's small enough.
Okay. TJ, NBA says Casty Paredes in Fanduel Cash. I don't know if that's a pick one or if he Casty Paredes.
It'd be Castellanos if it's between those 2. And if that's your combo, yeah, that's great.
Okay. Let's see. Cards, can you play Littell and Liberatore together in DK single entry?
Oof. You could, and you get a ton of bats, but I'm not doing that.
Okay. Philly stack with a Rockies 3-man and DK single entry. TJ, Philly stack with a Rockies 3-man.
I don't love the Rockies 3-man, but yeah, you can.
Okay. Cards, do you like Burleson in a DK GPP?
Yeah, I don't hate it as a punt tonight. And he just locked. So if you had him in there, he's in there.
Great. Rocky says, TJ QQ, last night Wilson from the Phillies hit a home run in his first at bat. His dad cried, then I cried. Will we cry again tonight?
I cry most nights, so I'd say, the chances are high.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Wilson will be the reason for it.
Okay. The chat, by the way, is giving me a hard time. Apparently, Cards, that was unacceptable to make an H&R block to an accountant of card stature.
I am glad that most people are sensible.
Saying an accountant of cards of stature works at H&R Block is like calling a meteorologist a weatherman.
Yeah, I get it now. I get it. Let's see. David says, hey, I got MLB TV watching the pregame, and it looks like they're going to play ball. And that's probably, I assume he's talking about Boston. That's good. We don't want to see a tarp. And Cards, to be fair, I do recall you do farm taxes, right?
That's correct. That's a good majority of my client base is farm related because I live in the middle of nowhere in Illinois, surrounded by cornfields, and I've come to enjoy it. But it's fun.
There you go. All right, hey, we got a leadoff double for New Bar, so things are looking up. Do we play him? Did we suggest him?
I just made him a home run call, so he needed to get a little more elevation under that double.
We'll take it. All right. Hey, we're getting some love. And I think on that note, we are going to bounce on out of here. So for STL Cards and for TJ and for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you. We will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.